What's up, dudes and dudettes? Dirt Road Dusty back in your ear hole. So those of you who know me know that for the last 20 years or so, snowboarding's been a huge part of my life. Moved to Colorado for a minute, did some shredding over there. Mountains all over the West Coast, Baker, Crystal, Bachelor, Hood, hiked some St. Helens a little bit, Lake Tahoe, maybe some others I can't remember. But I got a call from my buddy Chris, good buddy of mine, and he's like, dude, I got a free lift ticket for you. Wax up, let's go. So that's what we're doing. Today we're gonna wax up the board. Tomorrow we're gonna get down and dirty up on Mount Hood Meadows. One of the major things that I like to stress is make sure you're dialed in the night before. Get waxed up, you wanna be fast. Make sure your boots locking in nice. Make sure all your straps are dialed in, you're adjusted, because if you ride with my friends, they don't wait for nobody, unless you're injured, of course. On a POW day, you look down and look up, they're gone. So you don't want to be missing a beat. You want to be right on track. You want to be able to put your boots on, strap in, crack a beer, go. Especially, you know, if you're buying lift tickets, at the price of lift tickets, you know, $100, you're paying by the minute. So every wasted minute is valuable time. So make sure you got this stuff done the day before, and your friends will thank you for it. So I like to just take my boot, make sure it's tight and good, but just throw it in your binding, lock it down. Make sure everything's working right. I like to lock my toe strap in first. It kind of sucks the heel back into the back of your binding, make sure you're solid. Then I go to my top. And that's how I like it. I mean, everybody's different, obviously, especially with snowboarding. Some guys like a skinny stance, some guys like a wide stance. Some guys just, you know, are different. They ride differently, so just like anything else. So this is how I like it. I like my boot centered on the top of my board. No heel drag, no toe drag. And I like to also ride a little bit wider of a board. This is the Solomon Time Machine. I got union bindings, which I feel have a nice wide base to fit my fat caveman feet. So that looks good to me. So, you know, as far as stance goes, I see a lot of beginners on the mountain with really close stance, and because it feels more comfortable, it doesn't hurt as much. But in my opinion, I feel like that's not the way to go. I feel like if you got more of a wide stance, you're spread out over the top of the center of the board, you're gonna have more control. And if it's a real deep snow day, I'll kick my front foot back a notch, give myself a little bit more nose to kind of keep it on top of the snow. And that's pretty much it, you know. Of course, having fun is the only rule. But yeah, make sure this stuff's dialed in. Don't be messing with this stuff on the mountain. Unless you have to, unless you have something break. But also another thing, I like to adjust my toe straps where I got ratchets on the back side and the front side. So my buckles are nice and even. So that gives me room to go tighter, room to go looser. You don't want to be bottomed out and need to go tighter and your buckle has no more room to go. So yeah, those are just a couple things among the many. And like I said, everybody's different. So ride with what makes the most comfortable. But this is what's worked for me over the years. Like I said, I've done a lot of shredding, probably more than I should have. And yeah, we'll get to waxing. Another thing I'm gonna do, I haven't rode my board in a long time, so I'm gonna kind of scrape off some of that old wax. Looks like I got a little bit of rust on my edges going on, so I might take a sanding block or a piece of sandpaper, finer the better, and just score that up, clean it up, get some of that old gunk off there before I start putting the new on. And just take my scraper. A lot of guys say you want to scrape from the front to the back. A lot of the purists, honestly, I don't really care. A lot of guys really keep it, you know, long strokes. A lot of the border cross guys, a lot of the years my board has got a lot of little gouges in it. Hitting trees, hitting rocks, sometimes on purpose, sometimes on accident. So what they sell these little P-Tex strips, and you melt the wax inside those gouges and then smooth them out, and it kind of prolongs the life of your board. So if you got some big gouges in your board, look into it. It's pretty easy to do. Just melt it in there with a lighter, smooth it out, and good as new. You know, you can still see it, but you know, basically you just want to fill in all those grooves, make it as smooth as possible. You know, the wax thing, it really keeps your board moist, but I feel most of all, if there's any little grooves in there, the wax just fills it up and makes your board flatter. And that's my take on it. I think we're good here. I'm not going to get too crazy with it. I think that'll work out. We're going to sandpaper the edges, and then we'll start waxing. I'm really just trying to keep the sandpaper flat. It'd be better if you had a block, because then you could lay it flat and keep that edge nice and square. If that edge starts getting a little bit too round, you'll get a little bit less control. A lot of the rail riders will do that on purpose, so their edge don't gouge into the rail and then they eat shit. But I think that'll do for that. The key here is go snowboarding enough that your edges don't build up rust. And then we'll start waxing. So we're gonna get our iron turned on here. Get it warming up. You want it to be hot enough to melt wax, obviously, but not too hot. You don't want to go too overboard with it, because if you get your board too hot in certain spots, it can be damaging. So one thing a lot of folks will do is pull their bindings off, because the pressure from your bolts holding your bindings in, if you get too much heat focused over the top of that on the underside, it could really start to warp and pull your board apart. I don't do that because I don't really care. I just kind of just keep it moving and kind of feel underneath if the heat's coming through. I slow down a little bit, you know, try to spread your heat out all over. Wax. So we're almost there. Looks like the bottom of this iron's dirty. Wipe that off so I'm not rubbing dirt into my board, but see, we're smoking a little bit. The wax is smoking a little bit, so that tells me I need to turn down a hair. Liberally, as they say, I think. I always wondered why they call it liberal. It's because the liberals waste shit. I don't know. Maybe. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. That one's getting down there a little too far, starting to burn my fingers. Crack open a new stick here. What wax this is. I believe it's like a warmer weather wax, somewhere in the middle. They have cold weather wax, warm weather wax, different kinds, Teflon wax, all sorts of different stuff. People are trying different things out there. Everybody wants to go fast, because if you ain't first, you're last. Alright, so I think I got enough wax spread out there. We're just going to kind of put that iron flat on there and start melting all that wax. You'll kind of start to see it melt. If it's not really melting, slow down. If it's melting too fast and smoking, speed up. Just get that stuff spread out all around. It's not really the waxing part that's as much as important as the scraping. You're just getting wax on there and scraping it off, but you just want to melt it into those grooves, like I said. One thing I keep forgetting to do, stay hydrated. wax out there towards the end of the board too for a nice buttery action. Just keep it moving. Like I said, I'm going to feel the bottom of the board. It's not hot, so it tells me I'm moving fast enough, not burning it all up, separating the layers. I'm sure somebody out there will see this video and think, man, this guy don't know what the hell he's doing. Get a hold of me, I'll agree with you. We're gonna let that sit there for a few hours. There's different ideas on how long to let that wax sit on there. A friend of mine, he'll leave it on there and just scrape it off in the morning. I don't really feel like messing with that in the morning. So I'm gonna do it later. Let it sit for a couple hours. Make sure we get our iron turned off. Yep, so we're gonna let that sit for a while. Come back and scrape it later. All right, guys, so here we are, 8:15. The day just kind of got away from me, so let's hurry up and get this board scraped so I can actually get some dinner in me, get some shut-eye. Some guys will go ahead and take Scotch-Brite and rub it in there, but honestly, like I was telling you guys earlier, for me, that's plenty fine. You just want to get all that thick coating of wax off there. Run your hand across your base, make sure it's nice and smooth. If you feel any excess wax or any grooves, tend to them, but that's gonna work for me, especially when I'm hungry. All right, you guys get some sleep.